Ji students, I'm just recording my first slide just to test the quality of the recording. So I hope you enjoy the third slide. In the third slide, enjoy it. This is the fourth slide, and the fourth slide will be enjoyable. Thank you very much. Before that, let's take an example of field study. Field study is basically this is an example. A bank manager wants to analyze the relationship between interest rate and bank deposit patterns of clients. That what is the relationship between the interest rate and bank deposit. So what the manager is doing, she tries to correlate the two by looking at deposits into different kinds of accounts. She is just trying to correlate the different kind of accounts, deposit account, that is savings, certificates of deposit, interest bearing checking accounts, as interest rate change. So what she is doing, she is looking at the accounts with the interest rate changes. This is a field study where the bank manager has merely taken the balances in various types of accounts and correlated them to the changes in interest rate. So the interest rate is changes and the balances in various types of account is being monitored just to see the variation in the people behavior due to the interest rate. So research is done in a non-contrived setting, okay, with no interference with the normal work routine. So there is no interference or minimum interference. Previous, it was determining is going to establish, wants to establish beyond a doubt. Because of this, she wants to create an artificial environment, artificial, okay, contrived environment and trace the true cause and effect relationship. So she recruits 40 students who are all business majors in their final year of study and are more or less of the same age. She splits them into four groups and gives each of them amount of 1,000 rupees or $1,000, which they are told they might utilize to buy their needs or save for the future or both. She offers them an incentive interest on what they save but manipulate the interest rates by offering a 6% interest rate on saving for group 1, 8% for group 2, 9% for group 3 and keeps the interest at the lowest rate of 1% for group 4. Here the manager has created an artificial laboratory environment and has manipulated the interest rate for saving. Okay, so this is the controlled interference with the manipulation. Here the manager has created an artificial laboratory environment, has manipulated the interest rate for saving. She has also chosen subjects with similar backgrounds and exposure to financial matters. If the banker finds that the saving by the four groups increase progressively, keeping in step with the increasing rates of interest, she would be able to establish a cause and effect relationship between the interest and the disposition to save or inclination to save. In this lab experiment with the contrived setting, artificial setting, the researcher interference has been maximal. Interference has been maximal. Okay, as much as the setting is difficult, the independent variable has been manipulated, and the most external contaminating factors such as age, experience have been controlled. So it is controlled as well. It is the interference is maximal, and the setting is contrived. Let's in few weeks or in months as well. Okay, so the important point is data is gathered only once, and the data is gathered only once, it means it is a one shot studies. Example, data were collected from stockbrokers between April and June of last year to study their concern in a turbulent stock market. Data with respect to this particular research had been collected before, nor will they be collected again from them for this research. So it is only data is being collected only once. So if the data is collected only once, it means it is a one shot or cross-sectional study. Let's take another example. A drug company desirous of investing in research for new obesity Reduction Pill conducted a survey among obese people to see how many of them would be interested in trying the new pill. This is one shot or cross-sectional study to assess the likely demand for the new product. Okay, so you are desirous to check the impact of the medicine. So what you are trying to do, you are just seeing the interest of the obese people. This is a one-shot or cross-section study to assess the likely demand for the new product. Yeah, how many people are interested? So you have only exposed once to the obese people. Okay, understood? So it is a one-shot or the other kind of study is multi-shot or longitudinal study. Multi-shot means data would be taken more than once. Data would be taken more than once. Longitudinal means in a in a different time period. For example, if the researcher might want to study people and phenomena at more than one point in time. In order to answer the research question or when the data on the dependent variable are gathered at two or more points in time to answer the research question, different time periods. The study are called longitudinal study. For example, the researcher might want to study employees' behavior before and after a change in the top management. So as to know what effects the change accomplished. Here, because data are gathered at two different points in time, the study is not cross-sectional or of the one-shot kind, but is carried longitudinally across a period of time. Another example, let's take another example. One could study the sales volume of a product before and after an advertisement, and provided other environmental changes have not impacted on the results, like keeping other things constant. One could attribute the increase in sales volume, if any, to the advertisement. If there is no increase in sales, one could conclude that neither the advertisement is ineffective or it will take a longer time to take effect. Okay, so before and after advertisement will make you understand the impact of the advertisement, that either the advertisement is ineffective or it will take a longer time to take effect. So you could conclude the both once they are not available now. If you see the cross-sectional advantages, less time consuming than the longitudinal method for studying changes over time. Disadvantages, differences between the members of the sample cannot necessarily be attributed to age or development. So differences between the members of the sample cannot necessarily be attributed to age or development. So the differences would be difficult to attribute. So if we see the cross-sectional, it is here is a very good example. British social attitude survey. In the British social attitude survey, the labor force survey, these are the cross-sectional survey. You just take the data from the labor force, from the British social attitudes, from the society. You just take the data from the society about the social attitude. If you see the longitudinal example, a British birth cohort studies, the people or the women who are giving birth can be part of this study for a good duration of time, or understanding the society. So you are talking about a society. You are talking about the British birth cohort. Cohort means the people of the same demographics, sociographic. Okay. Okay. Let's see an assignment one. This is the class assignment, and why is it important to consider basic design issues before conducting the study and even as early as the time of formulating the research question. So actually it is important to consider the basic design issues before conducting the study as early as the time of formulating the research question, because you need to allocate the resources accordingly. You need to plan your research ahead accordingly. Let's Assignment 2. A foreman thinks that the low efficiency of the machine tool operator is directly linked to the high level of fumes emitted in the workshop. He would like to prove this to his supervisor through a research study. So you see the foreman who is working under the supervisor, he is trying to make a point that the low efficiency is due to the level of fumes emitted in the workshop. So what do you think the extent of research interference? It it should be minimal. The study setting, it should be non-contrived. The research strategy, it would be the observation, or you may say the it has to be the deductive approach, and the strategy